your usual suspect. Welcome back to yet another live broadcast on your favorite football updates channel. It's a beautiful Tuesday night slash evening with plenty of action ongoing. Some is already concluded, while other games continue. Real Madrid are a goal up against Levante. That goal scored by Vinicius Junior with Fede Valverde providing the assist. Liverpool, last I checked, were a goal up against Southampton, while Chelsea were leading by 2 goals to 1 against Lincoln City. That's in the third round of the EFL Cup. So plenty of action is going as we speak. Nonetheless, my bandwidth or internet speed is so poor. Hi, LFC, how are you doing, my brother? I hope you're busy enjoying that Liverpool game. Unfortunately, I'm struggling to keep tabs on the game due to very poor bandwidth. So I'll be very appreciative if you can uh, can't stay due to watching Liverpool match. I was just about to say that I hope you can give us, keep feeding us some updates during the course of the match because my bandwidth is so poor tonight that I can hardly keep up with any of the games that are ongoing. I had wanted to, follow multiple games, at least Chelsea, Liverpool, uh, Real Madrid, and more. But unfortunately, the situation is not permitting me to. So yeah, hope you win. I think you will win. I mean, Southampton, while is a formidable opponent, one of the teams that were in the Premier League last season, I think, yeah, it's safe to say that you can win this one. I can see Alexander Isak is off the mark for Liverpool. Um, Okay, bye bye to you as well. So I can see, Alexander Isak is already off the mark, and we are into the 50th minute of the game. So Federico Chiesa providing the assist in that one. Beautiful. Anyways, we'll do our best to keep tabs on whatever we can and leave out what we can't. Uh, all games are now into the second half. The game between Chelsea and Lincoln City is in the 64th minute. They are up by 2 goals to 1, like I said. Goals are from Tariq George and Facundo Benanote are the ones that have given Chelsea the lead as things go. Brighton are 3 goals up against Barnsley. Cardiff City are 2-1 up against Burnley. Fulham 0-0 against Cambridge. Wigan Athletic are a goal behind against Wycombe Wanderers, while Everton are a goal behind against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Wrexham are leading Reading by a goal to nil. So that's in the EFL Cup. While earlier on in the Spanish La Liga, Athletic Bilbao shared the spoils with Girona in a 1-all draw. I had hoped that Bilbao would win this game, but unfortunately, their poor start to the season equally continues. Espanyol shared the spoils in a 2-all draw against Valencia. Again, not the best of results for this Valencia side, but yeah, it is what it is. Then also Villarreal are leading Sevilla by a goal to nil, just as much as Real Madrid are being a goal up against Levante. So yeah, that's what's up in as far as some of the fixtures that are going on as we speak or as we follow this game. Um, Again, I've tried again and again and again, but unfortunately, I'm constantly falling short in terms of my different feeds from which I try to get the games. But anyways, that situation will improve in the future. I'm hoping we can find some resources and invest in something a little bit better or more reliable when it comes to giving us these feeds for these games. As we look to go forward. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Sometimes your hands are tied. Some issues are beyond your own control, and this is one of those in this particular case because it's due to poor internet. Absolutely. I mean, it keeps buffering. Real Madrid going into a 2-0 lead. It keeps buffering. There's not much you can do about it. You know, let's see who the goal scorer for that second Real Madrid goal is. It's just been scored in the 38th minute, and yeah, it's very unfortunate, to be honest. It's very and for somebody that loves to follow the game to the latter of it, it's often very disappointing when you realize that you cannot you know keep tabs on a game just because your internet chose to act out. But it is what it is. I'm trying to close as many feeds as possible to see if bandwidth can improve. But And I know that's not what improves the bandwidth, but you hope that internet speeds can then sort of be being somehow be improved. Oh, beautiful pass from Vinicius Junior up in the channel into Franco Mastantuano, and he's off the mark. Franco Mastantuano is the goal scorer for that other Real Madrid goal. Franco Mastantuano with Vinicius Junior providing the assist. Remember, he did score the first, so he's provided the assist in a very brilliant move, counter-attacking football. They win the ball back deep in their own area, go on a quick run. Vinicius Junior has, is it Kylian Mbappe in the middle? I mean, they are all within their own half. They go on a quick run. Franco Mastantuano is played in that long pass, and he goes on and he scores. Now, there's a very, very smart run here, but I don't know. Is it, let me see. Jesus Christ. It should be, yes, Kylian Mbappe's one. That sort of run to drag away the defenders is just brilliant. It drags away the defenders, leaves Statuano on the other side, literally open by himself, and he goes on to score. Anyways, we will keep tabs on that game as slowly as we can. But also, the big news today is very, very unfortunate news regarding Arsenal because they do find themselves in another yet a sort of pile of trouble with injuries, another at the receiving end of another very, very significant injury. I mean, today Mikel Arteta was being asked whether it's bad luck or coincidental or there's something they need to review in the way they go about their work to sort of reduce the number of injuries that they get. Assessing the last 12 months, Arsenal have been at the receiving end of so many injuries. Literally every player in that Arsenal squad last season suffered an injury, and this season we're only 5 games into, okay, now 6 games across all competitions for Arsenal, and they've suffered so many injuries. Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, Ben White, Pierre Hincap, they've all gone, they've all suffered an injury, somehow, somewhere. Christian Norgard, and yet now Noni Madueke is the latest victim. We know that he was forced off. He was a forced substitution over the weekend in Arsenal's 1-1 draw against Manchester City. That game finished 1-1 with Gabriel Martinelli scoring a late equalizer to cancel out brought Erling Haaland is did that Man City had hoped would give them all the 3 important points at the Emirates Stadium. So at halftime, he was one of the changes that Mikel Arteta did make, bringing on Bukayo Saka to replace Noni Madueke, while Mikel Merino paved the way for Ebeleche Eze. While for Ebeleche Eze, that was a tactical move for Mikel Arteta to add a bit of pace and creativity within his attacking midfield. For that of Noni Madueke was due to injury. He apparently felt something in his knee, and he tried to play on, of course, to the conclusion of the first half, but it felt the soreness, continued, and they figured he shouldn't be going back on. In any case, he was more devastated that he couldn't go back on. In the immediate aftermath, I think that was yesterday, he did undergo a scan to assess the extent of his injury, but looks like they are yet to get to the bottom of it. He may need to perhaps see a specialist or something. But earlier fears that it could be and that he could have done his anterior cruciate ligament injury are wide of the mark, according to multiple reports. So that was at least confirmed. It is relief in its very nature to the Arsenal camp, but more importantly to the player. I mean, we're talking about a player who's joined a new club in switching from Chelsea to Arsenal, in a very in sort of, I don't want to call it a weird move, but in a move that was widely criticized by fans. It was They did not take it down too well at the time when it was made. Of course, there were a number of factors, to consider at the time. Even though I did not agree with those fans, some fans went on to, sign an online petition to say we do not want Noni Madueke. But like I said, it was never up to the fans. It's always up to the club to decide which player they sign, how much they sign them for, and that kind of thing. So he comes in those circumstances, and so far this season, you could argue he's arguably been Arsenal's best attacking player. When you look at some of the games that he's played, versus Nottingham Forest, versus Liverpool, he's been one of their better players on the pitch. So to then suffer an injury very early into the season, which is a knee injury, and we know those ones do not come easy, because Kai Havertz himself was a second half substitute in Arsenal's opening day game that was against Manchester United away to Old Trafford on the opening weekend of the new Premier League season, and after that he suffered a knee injury, and he's since then undergone minor surgery. What we do not know yet, like I said, the extent of the injury is yet to be determined. It's not yet known whether the player will need surgery, whether minor or major. But if it is to necessitate surgery, the early indications are it could be minor surgery. And those indications do suggest, at least according to the Athletic, that he is set to be out on the sidelines for a period of about 2 months with that, knee injury. But like I said, those the earlier fears that it could be an anterior cruciate ligament injury well wide of the mark, and that's positive, because we know once you do your ACL, your season is as good as done. We've seen quite a number of those. We saw it with Rodrigo Cascante of Manchester City last season, and we know the kind of impact it's had on him, and he's just trying to pick himself back up, trying to regain that sort of form that he was on before suffering that major injury. So according to David Onsley, he did say Noni Madueke expected to be sidelined for around 2 months with a knee injury. 23-year-old winger sustained a problem in the first half of Arsenal versus Manchester City on Sunday, but understood to have avoided an anterior cruciate ligament damage. So again, while Arsenal continue with this sort of unfortunate instances when it comes to injuries, somewhere along the way last season, it became it became apparent that they were suffering so many injuries, and they decided to become more precautionary. But also, part of that precautionary sort of way of going about things dates far back to, I think, the 2023-2024 campaign, which was Urian Timber's debut campaign. You remember he suffered that anterior cruciate ligament injury after his debut against Nottingham Forest. While Arsenal won that game, he felt something going into halftime, and he thought he was okay to come back on. Hi Pedri, how are you doing, my brother? Watching the Real Madrid game, so you sort of, because he did not feel the impact of the injury at the time, and he thought he was good to come back, and he came back on the second half. Then he just couldn't continue. He was withdrawn, and then they go to check. He's done his ACL, and he was out for for the remainder of the season, really. So when it comes to New Year's, now not all of them send those players to the floor. Yes, they are winning by 2 goals to nil. Yeah, and those goals from Vinicius Junior and Franco Mastatuano are beautiful goals there. So, but anyways, so they became more precautionary in the sense that uh, every time a player feels something, they are advised, really, really strongly advised against playing through injury, unless it's necessary, absolutely necessary. For example, last season, when they suffered so many injuries, they were short on numbers. Players like Urian Timber had to play through injury. Ben White had to play through injury, which he had done for quite a bit of time until they made the decision to, for him to undergo that knee surgery and things like that. So present day, even William Saliba, in that on match day 3 when they traveled away to Liverpool, uh, the according to multiple reports, the insistence from the team was that he does not get to start, but he insisted that he was feeling okay to start. And then 4 minutes in, and then he's as good as done, and he had to be substituted off for Christian Mosquera. So like I said, it's a combination of I think majority bad luck when it comes to these injuries, because when you look at a player like Martin Odegaard, he's done his shoulder twice, and it's a sheer contest of the ball with an opponent, and then he falls, lands on his shoulder, and then he feels that twitch and he cannot continue. And I do suspect, by the way, ever since this sort of injury resurfaced in that game against Nottingham Forest, ever since which they've managed to play 2 games, away to Bilbao and against Manchester City, and tomorrow they will be up against Port Vale. I get the feeling that he's recovered, but they are because it's a repetitive injury, at least it's repeated itself twice. They are trying to avoid any bigger setback or sort of ex, expounding on the issue, not intentionally. Like they feel they must be precautionary in this particular case. When you go back to last season again, you remember the new signing, Mikel Merino. As soon as he arrived, he suffered that shoulder injury in training when he clashed with or collided with Gabriel Magalhaes. So in the case of Martin Odegaard, they're saying let's accommodate him as much time as we can afford to for him to heal. And once he is completely healed, then he can return to action. Not the idea just now of I feel okay, let's get back into it. Now remember, soon rather than later, that's after the weekend of 4th and 5th October. We'll be going, I think, into the October international break. So for a player like Noni Madueke, who is going to be out for 2 months, that means you do not expect him to return until late November or possibly December, and that's a huge blow, because during that period, you want to rotate your players. You have the Premier League, you have the UEFA Champions League, you have responsibilities in the Carabao Cup, and fixtures tend to come thick and fast. So, for example, this week they're playing, in the EFL Cup third round. Over the weekend, they have a trip away to Newcastle. Again, huge blow that they're going to miss a player like Noni Madueke, who has been quite the revelation in that Arsenal jersey. Then after that, they have a midweek game. Is it against Olympiacos? I do not remember certainly, but in the UEFA Champions League. And then after that, they'll play another game, possibly against West Ham. So when you look at how those games do come, you must feel for some of these players. And then they have to go away for the international break. The international break poses its own risks. Oftentimes, more often than not, players go out there and get injured, return back injured. One of the constant worries for Arsenal over the years has been Alexander Zichenko. Every time he's gone out there with Ukraine, he returned injured. It did happen a couple of times with Takahiro Tomiyasu. We know it's happened on more than one occasion with Ricardo Carafiori. In fact, the previous international break, that's in September. Yes. there was a, how should I call it? This blow of the finger, literally nail biting kind of a feeling amongst Arsenal fans, hoping that he comes back in one shape. That's Ricardo Carafiori, because he's one of those Arsenal players that have started their season on a very, very bright note, or on a brighter note. And then still speaking of injuries, Barcelona's Gavi is expected to be out, for 4 to 5 months after undergoing a surgery today. We're talking about a Barcelona side that started the season with their then captain, that's Marc-Andre Stegen, needing to go through surgery, and it's just very, very unfortunate. It's just very, very unfortunate, so that it's had to happen that way. Anyways, so injuries with teams. I mean, we know for a fact that injuries and the game, you cannot do away with them really. But for sometimes you can't help it feel that some teams are more unfortunate than others when it comes to injuries. Sometimes, we've had reports. I do not know to what effect, but that some of these injuries are the result of intense training that players go through. I know that for a fact that Manchester players during some point in the Eric Ten Hag era complained about the intensity of training and things like that. Well, it's not entirely bad to go through intensive training, because if you're going to get glass out of sand, then you must take it through heat. But I think beyond the sheer lack of it, you could also blame it on the number of games, because when you constantly playing these games and having to train hard in preparation for those very games that do come thick and fast, your body is bound to wear and tear. So that the match recovery period is often small. So, for example, take an example of Manchester City. They were in action against Napoli on Thursday, and you play Thursday night. You have Friday to recover. Saturday, sort of, do a bit of training and recovery training and things like that, and then you go again on Sunday. So it can be difficult. That's why teams or clubs have invested in swimming pools because of the sort of contribution that swimming helps with body recovery. Ice baths have become very, very, very constant in the game in terms of the physio side of the game, that players get to have this ice baths. Why? All to help, with quicker post-game recovery with players. But when you do it over the course of a season, because in Arsenal's experience, for example, last season, for some of the players that were suffering these injuries were players that had, played literally almost every minute in the past 2 or 3 seasons with the Arsenal. Gabriel Magalhaes, William Saliba, Bukayo Saka all suffered, some hamstring injuries. William Saliba, his came at the tail end of the season. Kai Havertz, the previous season, had suffered, had really played so many minutes with a sheer lack of, good rotation and things like that. So with time, these things are bound to happen as they are part of the game. Anyways, the Real Madrid game is into halftime, leading by 2-0, just as much as that between Sevilla and Villarreal. Brighton 4-0 up against Barnsley. Goes from Gomez with the hat trick. Actually, scored all 4. Gomez scored all 4 goals. I mean, that's a really, really brilliant. Diego Gomez scored all 4 against Barnsley. Then in the other fixtures, Cardiff are up by 2-1 against Burnley. Remember, Burnley are in the Premier League. Then Fulham are currently leading against Cambridge United. They're leading by 1-0. That goal scored by Emily Smith-Rowe in the 66th minute. These games are into the 87th minute, 84th, 86th, around that time. Then Chelsea continue to lead by 2 goals to 1. Like I said, Chelsea's goals were scored by Tariq George and Facundo Benanote. Um, and then Wigan Athletic are 2-0 behind against Wycombe Wanderers, while Wolverhampton Wanderers are leading up against Everton by 2 goals to 0. Monentes, the goal scorer for one of those goals. I mean, I need to dive deeper into this Everton starting 11 to see why Drake McNeil, Carlos Alcaraz, Barry, Tyler Dibling, uh, James Garner, James Tarkowski, Michael Keane, Jack O'Brien, Shamas Coleman, Mark Travers, the goalkeeper. I mean, that's a team that should be winning Everton a game of football. But unfortunately, it's not happening for them because Wolverhampton Wanderers do have Sam Johnston, goal, Matt Doherty, Santiago Bueno, they have Fugo Bueno, Monentes, Jean Resina, Andre Arias, Jorgen Strand and Wanki Chan. I mean, pretty strong starting 11s, but I mean, Wolves really need this victory to sort of redeem their campaign that has been off to a horrible start as far as the Premier League is concerned. So they really need it. Then Wrexham 2 goals up against a Reading. Looks like they are bound to advance to the fourth round of the EFL Cup. Liverpool continue to hold out a 1-0 lead against Southampton. That game is ongoing. Let's see if let's see if we can do what we can find that Alexander Isak goal and have a glimpse of it because we've been unable to catch it due to very poor bandwidth. But we know he's off the mark for Liverpool. Let me see if I can find the goal. How brilliant was it? In any case, again, oh, just poor. Oh, beautiful goal. Southampton only have themselves to blame, trying to play out from the back, ball they caught out of possession, and Alexander Isak is practically gifted. Is practically gifted. His first goal for Liverpool. I think he's going to go on to be a very a brilliant addition for this Liverpool side in terms of the goals that he will be able to score for them across the campaign. So that's the gist of it. From that end on, I'm trying to the game between Real Madrid seems to have. Are we back for the second half? I can see my feed is buffering, but not yet. It's basically highlights, but let's see if we can catch up on Liverpool in a bit. Whether internet has improved, although I'm not. I'm oh, meanwhile, Southampton seem to have equalized. Southampton have equalized against Liverpool. It's 1-1. It's 1-1. Wow. I mean, that Liverpool team, I wouldn't say they are weak, but Southampton have equalized. They have an equalizer against Liverpool. Jesus Christ. My internet is too poor. Oh, was that not offside? I mean, we will never know because there's no VR. So in terms of having the goal reviewed, but Southampton do have themselves an equalizer against this Liverpool side that started with Georgi Mamadashvili in goal. Their defense has Giovanni Leoni, the signing from Parma, Joe Gomez, Andy Robertson, Jeremy Frimpong. I mean, that's literally Liverpool's backup defense, backed by Jeremy Frimpong. Wataru Endo in midfield, Curtis Jones, then Tahir Morris, Nyoni, Riongo Moha, Federico Chiesa, you know, that's the starting 11 with Alexander Isak leading the lines. I mean that's a strong team to face off against Southampton is Alex McCarthy, Ryan Manning, Joshua Akwashi, Nathan Wood, Ronnie Edwards, Elias Gillette, um, Leo Sanchez, Plain Dones, Caspar Jada, Adam Strong, and Cameroon Archer. Cameroon Archer are leading the lines there. I mean, they started with this sort of 5-4-1 kind of system for Southampton. That's how they did assemble themselves. I mean, you're going out to Liverpool. You must defend deep. You must be solid at the back if you're going to get a result. And looks like they are threatening to do that. I mean, wouldn't it be beautiful for football if Liverpool got knocked out? I got knocked out of the Carabao Cup. Wouldn't that be, an amazing thing for football? I mean, usually when such fixtures come, I'm rooting for the underdog. For these sort of Carabao Cup games, for as long as it's not the team that I actually support that is playing, I'm always rooting for the underdog. I like it when these sort of so-called small teams, non-league side teams, League One, League Two kind of teams, championship teams come up against the big boys, whether versus the championship teams or versus the Premier League teams, and they put on quite a show, and they show that they are capable of winning games. The way we saw Grimsby Town outplay Manchester United when they were knocking them out of the EFL Cup at the second round. So that kind of feeling, I mean, I really, really love that. But I know Liverpool are going to find a way of winning this game. They just know how to do that. They just score late goals, but at the end of the day, they win. At the end of the day, they win. And when you look at their bench, let's look at their bench, some of the players that they can call onto. They've already swapped out Hugo Ekitike. They've already swapped out Alexander Isak for Hugo Ekitike. Curtis Jones paved the way for Conor Bradley, while Jaden Dance came in for Rio Ngomoho. Who else can they look to sort of create impact? Off the bench, not much really, because Mo Salah, Ryan Gravenberch, McAllister, Soboslai, Virgil van Dijk, Ibrahim Konate are all absent. Florian Wirtz, they're all not on the bench. So this team, this Liverpool side, would have to grind it out. But like I said, how beautiful would it be if there's a player on the floor receiving treatment, but like I said, my internet connection is just too poor tonight. Too poor. In fact, let me attempt doing a speed test and I see what's really happening. Because I mean, I know it can be poor sometimes, but it's just horrible. It's just horrible. It is showing me it's at 93 Mbps, but this is just very, very, very horrible. Okla. Let me try how with Okla. Let me try speed test with Okla. Maybe they will give me more accurate results as compared to fast.com. Jesus Christ. I can't even load the page. I can't even load the page successfully. But yeah, If it goes to penalties, it is always 50-50. If I'm Southampton, I'd fight tooth and nail not to take it to penalties, because penalties can be a bit difficult. It can be sort of hard, you know. They can be, they're 50-50. You never know who is going to win it. Uh, it's both quality and luck that you need to combine to sort of find a balance to determine who wins it. But more often than not, you need luck on your side. You really, really need luck on your side. All my internet speeds just show they are okay. But this time around, I don't know. Upload, download speeds, they're 100 Mbps and above. 100 Mbps and above. And yet, I'm struggling to load a game of football. Struggling to load a game of football. Very, very difficult to see how you even go about it. But let me see if we can find a different source. At least and see out this Southampton game. Let's see if we can find a different source and see out this Southampton game. Oh no. This is just so poor. Sometimes you get lucky, you find a feed that doesn't buffer as much as some do, and you get to enjoy that one. But this looks like tonight is not one of those nights where you get lucky. Tonight is not one of those nights. Oh my word. I must find a way to get that. Must find a way to get that thing. Oh, mosquito. Anyways, basically, there's no alternative fit. There's no alternative fit. I can't lie, guys. It's just yeah, Liverpool have scored. They have the difference. I knew they were going to score. They just have it in them. Hugo Ekitike with the goal. Federico Chiesa providing the assist. Meanwhile, Hugo Ekitike has been given a straight red card. I don't know what for. Straight red card for Hugo Ekitike just a minute after he had scored. Just a minute after he had scored. Just a minute after he had scored. But they lead 2-1, down to 10 men, but it won't matter. He took off his shirt. After taking off his shirt, then what happened? Because that will be for a second booking. And here it shows it's a straight red card. You do not get a straight red card for taking off your shirt. Simple goal, simple pass from Federico Chiesa, and he basically passes it into the back of the net, takes off his shirt, shows it to the Anfield crowd. Oh my God. That's just poor defending from Southampton. Poor defending. They got caught napping in that defense. They got caught napping in that defense because it's a long ball from deep, from deep around around the halfway line. A ball is played into the channel for Federico Chiesa, lays it to Ekitike, and on he goes. 6 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. Remember, he scored 3 in the Premier League. He has 3 in the Premier League. Sorry, not 3 in the Premier League. He scored in the Community Shield against Crystal Palace. So far scored twice in the Premier League against Newcastle and against he scored against actually twice in the Premier League, yes, against Newcastle, against Bournemouth, and over the weekend against Everton. So actually 5 goals in 6 games for Liverpool. If you factor in the Community Shield game, with an assist. So he's just brilliant. He's just brilliant. Now you know why teams really wanted to sign him. Chelsea wanted to sign him, Liverpool wanted to sign him, and of course it's Liverpool that won the rest. Newcastle attempted to sign him. Man United were really interested. They ended up with Benjamin Sesko. So yeah. But with the way Liverpool plays, I mean, you just must score. They literally put it on the platter for you. You just must score. And he just makes it look easy sometimes. Anyways, we will leave thingy at that. Levante have pulled one back against Real Madrid, so that game is 2-1 as we speak into the second half. But Courtois looking almost, gutted and speechless, having conceded that goal. I think every goalkeeper's dream is to keep a clean sheet going into a game, but it's not always, it doesn't always go their way. It doesn't always go. Anyways, looks like internet won't allow us to do anything productive in terms of the possibility of a watch along. But majority of the EFL Cup games are done. Cardiff, Brighton scored 6 against Barnsley. So Brighton are through to the 4th round. Cardiff City are through. Fulham are through. Chelsea are through. Wycombe Wanderers are through. Wolverhampton Wanderers are through. Wrexham are through. And now Liverpool are on the verge of joining the rest of the other teams. More action to come tomorrow in as far as the EFL Cup is concerned. That's at the 3rd round. Arsenal will be in action against Port Vale at 10 p.m. Be sure to look out for that game. Then, of course, the UEFA Europa League will be on as well. UEFA Europa League will be on. Spanish La Liga will be on. Atletico Madrid will be in action tomorrow. But in as far as the EFL Cup is concerned, Manchester City will be away to Huddersfield Town. Newcastle will be at home to Bradford City, while Tottenham Hotspur will be at home against Doncaster Rovers, and Arsenal are playing away to Port Vale. In the Spanish La Liga, Getafe will be up against Deportivo Aves. Atletico Madrid will be at the Wanda Metropolitano against Rayo Vallecano, and Sociedad will be at home against Mallorca. So those are some of the games that will come your way. We will discuss, the UEFA Europa League fixtures that will be coming your way. We'll have a review of them in the morning. But yeah, allow me to wrap it here. Very, very unfortunate. Not that I would have loved to end it here, but internet is just poor. It's just poor. Just not giving me what I had hoped for tonight. Stay blessed and have yourselves a wonderful night. Thank you so much, LFC and Pedri, for managing to chip in into the conversation tonight. Bye-bye for now.